Hello ladies, it's Tuesday and it's freezing.
Seems like today I'm looking back. Yeah, maybe tomorrow I'll see further than my little head allows me to.
Jamie and Alicia, I am so sorry about everything you guys had to go through. It is not fun. Alicia, you asked, how do you deal with grief? And it is really hard. When my aunt was on her last days, I didn't even deal with my grief until I was alone because I felt like I had to be strong for everybody else. And I think me, my grandmother, and my aunt, my other aunt, all took turns kind of falling apart. And it's hard. It's been almost exactly 3 years now since she passed, and I still dream about her, and I still wake up crying, and it's mostly, I have a lot of regret because I didn't spend a lot of time with her since I had graduated high school and moved down to college. So I have a hard time with that, and it's just, you have to realize, like my aunt, for example, she wasn't her in her last days. She had, from the chemo, she had brain lesions, and you'd see little flashes of her, but she wasn't there anymore. And she had suffered enough, and I'm glad that she's not suffering anymore, and that helps me. And I just remember her, and I remember, everything about her, and craziness. And her son, my cousin, died a few months before that from pneumonia, and he had Crohn's disease, actually, and that's what made him weakened for the pneumonia. So, and I didn't even get to see him before he died. So it's difficult. One day at a time. Don't be afraid to cry. It really helps. I think it really helps. It really releases emotions. I journal, and any time in my life I always journal, and so that's how I deal with grief, is cry and journal, but try to move forward. Don't get stuck. Don't get yourself in a sad little hole. So, another question you had was family or holiday traditions. And since my parents divorced, holiday traditions have been since then kind of sporadic. But one thing we do is mostly on Christmas week. We have a silly string fight. And silly string is in our stockings, and then we have a silly string fight, and it gets interesting every year, kind of how that happens. So, and favorite recipes. I'm not much of a cook, but I can bake. I don't really like to cook, and I don't know, I guess I don't know why I like baking more, but still it doesn't happen very often. But lately, something quick and easy is these garlic cheese biscuits. And you just get the biscuits in a tube and some shredded cheese and you make some garlic butter, and you just go to town. And first time I did, I just wing it, and it takes like 15 minutes to make. So simple. And that's what I make usually. Another one that I do that takes a little bit longer, that I don't make very often, is fudge with cocoa powder. I think it tastes really good, but that's just me. And yeah, so not one for recipes. And, I had a question, Alicia, for you. It could be my question, but isn't your husband a U.S. citizen because you're married? I don't know how that works at all. I have no idea, but I just assumed that's how it worked, is when they get married. You see all those shows about getting married and not getting deported, and they just get married so they don't get deported. But random. But that's my question for you is, I don't understand how he's not a citizen if you're married. exercises are, or something to that effect. And I would have to say I love to stretch. I love stretching. It feels so good. Just all different types of stretches, my dance stretches. And then I go running. Yeah, I try to do it every night, but sometimes, like last night, I had an extra credit movie I had to go to and then a paper to write, and I wasn't done with everything until about 10 or 11 o'clock at night, so I didn't go. But because of my dog, I kind of need to run her, so it kind of helps. But Janelle, you're right that I forget what it's called, but the dancing aerobics thing, awesome. I love dancing no matter what, so anything with dance in it. But probably I love to do hip hop. It's probably my favorite because it really gets you moving, and you know, there's choreography and stuff, and so but yeah. And Callie, if no one else will switch with you,